Welcome to NRV News. I'm Tyler Martin.
And I'm Kelly Fisher.
Here's some of what's going on today.
Students at Radford University have responded to a change in tuition brought on by the Board of Visitors regarding the maximum number of credit hours they can take. The current maximum of credit hours stands at 18 per semester and could go down to 16 per semester. Tyler Martin has the story.
These are the flyers that were posted around Radford University in response to a new credit limit brought on by the university. However, the flyers are nowhere to be seen around campus since they have been removed. Due to a new pause on tuition, the university wants to change the maximum number of credit hours students can take each semester before paying more in fees. Students who go over 16 credit hours will have to pay $329 per credit. This will mostly impact students who are in the College of Visual and Performing Arts, STEM majors, double majors, and more. This change in tuition has created a lot of protest from the student body. 2 honor students have brought attention to this issue, Hannah Stewart, a double STEM major, being one of them.
College is really expensive already. We didn't know about this. We're not sure we can afford to do this. Keep doing our undergraduate research, keep doing our double majors, keep doing these 4 credit opportunities, or keep going with our programs if we haven't to pay this additional fee.
Stewart is set to graduate after the semester, and although she will not be affected by this credit limit, she wants students to have the same Radford experience she has had. STEM majors are well known for going over the typical 15 credit hour load each semester.
Say a traditional math major, going into teaching, at least you're going to be in at least 1 or 2 18-hour semesters. There's no way around it.
Students in the College of Visual and Performing Arts are also affected by this.
I know a lot of people who either have to graduate later under this thing, or even some just not come here at all.
The credit limit was originally planned for this school year, but has since been pushed back to next school year. We have gotten in contact with many people from University Relations, but have not gotten any feedback on their side of the story. It's still a matter of time to see what will happen with the credit limit here at Radford University. For NRV News, I'm Tyler Martin.
After hearing from students, Radford University has decided to go forward with its new tuition policy, charging extra money for the 17th and 18th credit hours a student takes. But the new policy will be enacted over 3 years instead of only 1, which the university changed in reaction to students voicing concerns over the policy. President Brian Hemphill stated that the final change would only impact 12% of students. The decision comes after much deliberation and discussion from the Board of Visitors, and the school has promised more scholarship opportunities to compensate for the change in the coming years.
Radford University has made plenty of headlines before, but this time was for an odd reason. Michael Gravely reports.
On September 18th, over 1,500 copies of the Tartan were delivered to 32 newsstands at Radford University. The following day, it was discovered that nearly over 1,000 copies of the Tartan were missing with no explanation. During his 3 years at the Tartan, this might be the strangest thing that Chief Editor Dylan Lepore has seen. After weeks of the Tartan being missing, his goal is to keep the story relevant.
The most important thing is that we keep updating the public on the missing newspapers, and so we don't want this to die out. We want to solve this case.
Dustin Staples has been a distributor for the Tartan for the last 2 years. Dustin takes pride in his job and spoke with us to share some of his feelings after the Tartan went missing.
I was kind of a little bit of disappointment to see that happen the next day or whenever it happened. It just kind of felt like, there's my hard work. What happened to it? So,
as of now, there has been no suspects named in the taking of the Radford Tartan. However, Radford Police has footage of the day when the Tartan was taken. Due to Virginia laws, they are not allowed to release the footage because it is an ongoing investigation. NRV News signing out, I'm Michael Gravely.
The search is over for a Marine deserter wanted for murder in Franklin County. Michael Alexander Brown was on the run for about 3 weeks. The 22-year-old serviceman is accused of killing his mother's boyfriend in the community of Hardy. That's about 9 miles outside of Roanoke. Authorities said he gave up without a fight. At one point, a possible sighting of Brown in Roanoke prompted the city to close schools.
The city of Charlottesville is once again dealing with the vandalization of a Confederate statue. Tarps covered the Robert E. Lee statue in Market Street Park last Friday after officials say someone had targeted the statue along with another one Thursday night. The words, "Impeach Trump" and "This is racist" were sprayed on the base. Cleanup began on Monday. However, city staff expect the process to take longer than expected. Authorities are actively looking for the person or persons involved.
A great downtown can make a city special, and the lack of one can make it not so desirable. Radford, Virginia used to have one of those great downtowns, but recently it has been fighting for its life. Radford City Council is hoping to give that breath of life. Kristen Millsaps has more.
When passenger trains were still a part of the Radford community, people would come from all across Virginia to come enjoy what Radford had to offer. Whether it be an amazing theater, a quaint downtown for the family to enjoy, or a place to start a family. It even became a college town when Radford College opened in 1913 as an all-women's college. Radford had it all. The economy was booming, and hundreds of people walked its streets each day. That all changed once the railway closed its doors to passengers in 1971, and I-81 passed right by Radford. The city's businesses began to leave. The beloved theater was becoming a thing in the past, and RU students weren't attracted to the old-timey feel of what downtown had to offer. Despite the lack of potential customers roaming the streets, some businesses have been able to survive thanks to smart business plans and irresistible quality.
Do not forget your locals, because the locals can forget about you.
1,000 people in the city of Radford. The city of Radford is home to over 10,000 college students. That is over 62% of the town's population being made up of young adults. In the last voting cycle, the Washington Post reported that voter turnout was at an all-time high, and students were to thank for that record-breaking event. However, the influence student voting has on may not be as large as it seems. John Ward reports.
Out of 16,000 people, the city of Radford is home to over 10,000 college students. That's over 62% of the town's population being made up of young adults. In the last voting cycle, the Washington Post reported that voter turnout was at an all-time high, and students were to thank for that record-breaking event. However, the influence student voting has on an election like the one coming up in Virginia on November 5th may not be as large as it seems.
That's the ultimate goal, is to show up at the polling place and vote. But, you can lead a horse to water.
Voter registration versus turnout is the biggest issue, according to Howard. The office has registered over 1,000 new voters for this election, but he says he knows many of them won't turn up to the polls come election day.
And what we've seen in many instances is our turnout percentage will go down because there are so many more people registered now, but the same number of people come out to vote because they're interested in that particular election.
In 2018, the city of Radford was the 5th largest voting precinct in the state of Virginia. To solve that problem, we've split the city into 2 precincts, an East and Central precinct. This will give university students easier access to voting centers and easier transportation if they don't have a car to get to the voting centers themselves. Hopefully this will increase voter turnout, even though many students are registered to vote, not as many turn out to vote on election day. The Student Government Association, along with other organizations like the Young Democrats and Young Republicans, have taken over the registrar's main duties on campus of registering voters. Despite all independent groups like these having an agenda of some sort, what's important is students voting for the representation that they want and showing up to the polls.
I'm definitely going to vote. I feel like voting is my way of expressing how I feel. It's me getting my voice out there. So yes, I'm definitely going to vote on November 5th.
While students may not control the local elections as it may seem to some, many locals fear that Radford students make up too large of a population and don't want students who are not from the area voting in local elections. To those people, I would simply say, if that's what you're afraid of, make sure you turn out to vote on November 5th.
We apologize for some minor technical difficulties. We're now back to the package on downtown Radford and Main Street.
When passenger trains were still a part of the Radford community, people would come from all across Virginia to come enjoy what Radford had to offer. Whether it be an amazing theater, a quaint downtown for the family to enjoy, or a place to start a family. It even became a college town when Radford College opened in 1913 as an all-women's college. Radford had it all. The economy was booming, and hundreds of people walked its streets each day. That all changed once the railway closed its doors to passengers in 1971, and I-81 passed right by Radford. The city's businesses began to leave. The beloved theater was becoming a thing in the past, and RU students weren't attracted to the old-timey feel of what downtown had to offer. Despite the lack of potential customers roaming the streets, some businesses have been able to survive thanks to smart business plans and irresistible quality.
Do not forget your locals, because the locals can forget about you. So we got to put time back into that. So that's what we started to do. I think that's the main focus.
But not every business has had that same success. Thankfully, someone stepped up. Paul Palante decided to work with Radford City, Radford's Economic Development Authority, and the NRV Credit Union to provide funds to help the appearance of storefronts downtown.
This grant will definitely improve Radford in making spaces more attractive for people to want to spend time there, to visit, to explore.
If businesses can attract more students, locals, and tourists, it could be the destination it once was. Thanks to help from RU, Radford City, and the NRV Credit Union, shopkeepers will have a way to revitalize their storefronts. I'm Christian Millsaps with NRV News.
The Virginia legislature has just raised the minimum age of purchasing any tobacco products to 21. Ola Elshar talked to students who are under the legal age and a tobacco shop owner about their reactions to the bill.
As an owner of tobacco, owner, and we depend on selling tobacco, although it did affect our business, but we are actually for 21.
Virginia's no smoking law has affected business of many tobacco shop owners. Mohammed, who has owned his store for 8 years, the bill has affected his business.
Yes, absolutely. We do. We did go down at least 40% in our business, but that's okay. As long as we can prevent children from smoking, we have no problem with that.
Parker Zachary, who's 20 years old, is one of many students who were disappointed after the law was in effect.
When the law changed, I was hurt. I was personally hurt because I cannot come in here and buy my jewel pods or anything. I can't keep vaping.
18-year-old Hope Burnett thinks the law won't stop the underage from purchasing.
Stop teenagers from smoking. The only way is to just stop producing it altogether, because they're gonna find a way to get it one way or another.
Mohammed supports the law, and he personally thinks it's the best solution to stop kids from smoking.
I do support 21. That is not bad law. It is a good law. It does prevent underage. It does prevent kids from, buying cigarette and smoking. So I am personally for 21.
The law was in effect on July 1st. Raising the age to 21 has surely decreased the use of tobacco among teenagers. It also affected the business of many tobacco shop owners. This is Olal Shar, NRV News.
Coming up next, a dog who's running loose is hounding animal control officers in Virginia Beach.
You're watching NRV News from the School of Communication at Radford University.
Hey man, is this yours?
Not anymore.
Dude, there's a trash can right there.
It's not mine, man. What do you want me to do with it?
Throw it away.
All right. It's that easy. Just do your part and pick up your own trash.
We have two students gathering information for their essay. Wait, Sean decides he's gonna procrastinate. Ian looks up information online, while Sean watches cat videos online. When Ian draws up a draft, Sean draws a picture of a house and a cow. When they get their grades back, they realize, well, maybe procrastination isn't the best idea. Don't procrastinate. Get your work done.
Bullying is never okay in any environment. Bullying can lead to physical, mental, and emotional abuse. If someone you know is suffering from bullying or suicidal thoughts, for suicide, please call the National Suicide Prevention number at 1-800-237-8255. Remember, life is your birthright.
The policy on pets at the Radford University campus is reaching its second anniversary, and people on campus are still getting used to it. Raymond Radford talks to students and university officials about the pets on campus.
Pets on Radford University's campus seem to be a rarity since the introduction of the pet policy in 2017. However, Sparky's Run Dog Park right outside the campus hasn't seemed to notice. But not all pets are outlawed. Emotional support animals like kale mail still have a place at the university. Izzy Billings is one of the few students on campus that's allowed to have a pet in the building. After all, kale mail is her emotional support animal. The process for Izzy to get her pet registered on campus as an ESA was long and part of the school's end. that almost led to a delay, which could have resulted in KML not being allowed to come.
We started the process in February when I got my acceptance letter. Because they were late with my housing, I didn't get approval for her until a week before school started.
Taylor Hawkins and her 5-month-old puppy, Ferdinand, don't live on campus, but they have a good reason for why she walks Fern on campus.
By nature of this being a college town, there's like glass everywhere on the streets off campus. Yeah. So that's my main reason.
Fern still being a little one yet shows that maybe she shouldn't be in the classroom yet. But for other pets, Taylor has a suggestion for you.
If you have a pet, you should be responsible and know like where to bring your pet and whatnot. That's just by nature of like understanding how your pet works.
Izzy, on the other hand, tried to start ESA club on campus. However, this was denied due to confidentiality. I've requested an interview with the school, but as of press time, they have yet to respond. In the end, though, pets like KML and Fern help a lot of people who pass by, whether they're a registered ESA or just a regular household pet. Pets are always our friends. I'm Raymond Radford, NRV News.
Authorities in Virginia Beach want the public to help them catch a runaway dog that has eluded them for months. They say well-meaning residents are making the job more difficult. Chelsea Donovan has the story.
It's hard to imagine a dog sitting patiently on the side of Lynn Haven Parkway, an incredibly busy intersection.
She is very street smart. She is very car savvy, so she stays right at the edge of the road.
Well, take a look for yourself. This female hound dog looks perfectly approachable.
We have tried treats and kindness, and that just is not effective.
Lucy, the elusive hound, has been keeping Virginia Beach Animal Control on their toes for more than 6 months. She previously escaped from her owners she'd only been with for a few days after being adopted.
We moved to the steps of putting a humane trap out. That trap, any trap set for a dog, is baited with food.
Now, Animal Control says over the past 6 months, the dog actually entered one of the traps here on the property, but then she escaped or was either let out, which just adds more of a challenge. Another challenge, the public and passerbys constantly tossing her food and treats.
We really need the public to back off a little bit and allow us to do our job.
Animal Control has motion detector cameras set up and is working in tandem with Gina Highfield with Lost and Found Pets of Hampton Roads.
Just knowing that she's out there every night, my dogs are inside being spoiled, sleeping on a couch, and she's outside in the woods in the freezing cold.
Highfield helped put out this new Missy trap you can see clearly in the woods.
The Missy trap is better for dogs that are more skittish, and they're not going to go in this little confined space to eat.
Now these large signs have been posted by Lucy supporters pleading for the public to stay off the private property that she takes shelter in.
This is our job. We are trained in how to do this. We've done this for years, and so we need the public to trust that we are doing everything possible and to allow us the time and patience that we need.
The ultimate goal, bring Lucy to safety and find her a forever home. In Virginia Beach, Chelsea Donovan, News 3.
A Virginia woman got her cat back more than a year after it disappeared. Mindy Kreiner allowed her cat to go outside one day in May of 2018, and he didn't come home. Kreiner, who searched different neighborhoods but wasn't able to find him. Apparently, the cat was being fed by a person less than 2 miles away from Kreiner's home and was just fine until an injury. That person took the cat to Animal Control, which found out the cat had a microchip. Kreiner encourages pet owners to microchip their own pets.
It isn't high winds or ice or snow that's been cutting power in Norfolk, but ocean air. Details in a minute.
Hey. What up? You want a hit? No, man. You know smoking's bad for you. I know. But you can't just quit cold turkey. I know. It's much more difficult, man. You could get lung cancer.
One in 3 people who are vaping are most likely to smoke.
Hey.
Oh, hey, how were classes today?
They were good, but I thought you were gonna quit smoking.
Yeah, but...
You know that smoking causes cancer, right?
Yeah, I know.
And your cigarette butts can take up to 10 years to decompose.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, use the ashtray.
what really hurts musicians all around the world? Downloading music illegally. There are plenty legal streaming apps out there, including Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play. And when you buy a physical copy of your favorite artist's albums, you are putting more money into their pockets, as well as giving yourself a better listening experience. So when you're listening to music, make sure you're buying it or downloading it all legally. We thank you.
A new federal act is now being put into full effect that requires people to head to their local DMV and switch from their standard state ID to what is now known as a real ID. Here's Ryan Payne with more on the story.
The DMV is now issuing real IDs to people in place of the standard state IDs. The DMV began issuing real IDs in 2014. The purpose is to make our identity documents more consistent and secure. Brandy Brubaker, Media Public Relations Official of Richmond DMV, gave insight as to the purpose of the real IDs.
That are used for the federal purposes of boarding a domestic flight or entering a secure federal facility or military base.
Brubaker states during the interview that the Real ID was an act passed in 2005 by Congress.
And that sets requirements for state-issued driver's licenses and identification cards.
The difference between the standard state ID and the Real ID is a black star located in the top left corner. The Real IDs are set to become effective October 1st, 2020. With a change like this, one would think that it would be more advertised. However, many citizens are unaware of this change. Some citizens deem it necessary when it comes to air travel, however others deem it unnecessary when it comes to every day-to-day life. A resident here at Radford University felt that the switch was unnecessary and a waste of resources.
I think it's unnecessary and it's just making everyone have to jump through a bunch of hoops.
A professor here at Radford University did feel that the change was needed, especially when boarding flights.
I think it's okay. I think that identification for boarding a plane or something like that should be stricter. It was a little bit too easy, in fact.
Many citizens feel blindsided by this change and feel that there should have been more of a conversation and vote among the people. Nevertheless, the Real IDs go into effect October 1st, 2020. So make sure you head to your local DMV to grab your Real ID.
Many colleges in Virginia are dealing with a decline in student enrollments. Radford University's freshman class has declined by almost 900 students. Virginia Tech, on the other hand, has not had to deal with this problem. Madison Bolt reports.
This semester, Virginia Tech's housing has caused unique problems and opportunities for both student and faculty. They accepted over 1,000 more students than the 7,000 they aimed for. Their situation is similar to Delta's and other airlines.
In the sense of saying a good problem to have, it is a challenge when you have more students than you can accommodate. It's like on an airline. You sell 5 extra seats, there are 5 people that cannot fit on that airplane.
In addition to buying out hotels, they have converted the Virginia Tech Inn into a residence hall.
What we did is we found a way to convert the Inn at Virginia Tech and another local hotel into residence halls for 1 year. And we did that so that we could give those students the very best first-year experience that we could.
Students are farther away from their classes, but this does not dampen the spirits of students using these improvised residence halls.
After being here and living here for a month now, it's been great. I go to my friends' dorms and they have no AC, they're sweating.
In fact, some students say they chose these locations over some of the older buildings.
When my time slot was available to choose dorms, this was the only one with air conditioning left. Well, this and the hotel, but this is much closer, so I chose this.
Spirits are high for both Virginia Tech students and faculty as they accept the challenges that the housing situation has presented to them. For RU News, this is Madison Bolt.
Salt buildup on power lines is to blame again for several power outages in Norfolk, Virginia, a couple of weeks ago. Julio Avila spoke with Dominion Energy and explains what they are doing to try and stop it from happening so often.
You may be experiencing power fluctuations throughout the evening due to current weather conditions.
This is the call some Dominion Energy customers got last weekend as strong winds battered Hampton roads, including Norfolk's Ocean View section. But don't blame outages all on wind. Salt is also a factor.
Our power lines are exposed to a number of natural elements that cause outages, including wind, trees, ice, animals, and in isolated areas along the coast with very specific weather conditions, salt contamination.
Dominion Energy customers tell News 3 that electricity was flickering inside homes and businesses. It caught Norfolk Councilman Tommy Smeagol's attention, who posted this message on social media saying, maybe Dominion Energy can start spending some of the billions of dollars they make every year on undergrounding power lines. He represents the city's 5th Ward, which covers Ocean View. But are underground power lines possible?
The burying power lines can be more expensive, but in areas where it makes sense, it can help us with quicker restoration.
But Dominion says moving power lines underground doesn't always work.
That process takes many factors into consideration, including the potential for flooding, which is a problem in coastal areas as well, so it's a balancing act.
According to Dominion Energy, underground power lines are not currently being considered in Ocean View. As for salt buildup, Dominion says it's not a common cause of outages.
We put special conditions in place so people don't even recognize the times that were avoided because of that. But it's impossible to know everywhere that the salt may build up and when it could cause a power outage.
A 342-year-old ceremony took place in Richmond just before Thanksgiving between leaders of 2 Native American tribes and the state's governor. It is the annual tax tribute which marks a treaty signed between the colonial governor in 1677 and the Mattaponi and Pamunkey nations. Pamunkey chief Robert Gray and Mattaponi chief Mark Costello both presented a white-tailed deer each along with homemade gifts to Governor Ralph Northam. This ceremony also honors Native American Heritage Month as well. It's one of the shortest shopping seasons ever, but it's off to a good start. That story after the break.
Find yourself restlessly sleeping, gaining weight, or even losing focus in your vision? If you do, you may be experiencing computer vision syndrome. From playing video games to doing homework on your laptop, it's important to note the amount of time you spend looking at a screen during the hours of a day. Headaches, blurred vision, and restless sleep are all symptoms of overexposure to screens that can affect the day-to-day life of a student. The more screen time you give yourself, the more possible it is to see these symptoms. So take a break from the screen and enjoy the fresh air.
Alright, man, I'm about to rock.
You sure?
Yeah,
You've been
dude.
drinking a lot, bro.
Yeah, I got my car. I'm good. Dude, I'll get home fast.
Alright, I mean, well, I can drive you, though.
Nah, man, I'm fine.
It's easy. Let's go.
You sure?
Yep.
Appreciate
Lead the way, sir.
Thanks, man.
Drinking is a massive part of the college experience, so remember, drink responsibly and have a designated driver.
Ever heard of don't step on the crack or you break Mo's back? Now it's don't step in gum because it'll ruin your shoes and that is no fun. Please be the individual that will sit there and spit their gum in a wrapper and dispose of it by walking to a trash can because it is very unfortunate for people to pick your gum off their shoes. Would you like for someone to spit on the ground and have their gum on your shoe? No. Please take the time and effort to walk to a trash can and dispose of your gum.
Radford University has narrowed its search for a new provost and vice president for academic affairs to 3 people. The 3 finalists are David Schechter, Jonathan Levin, and Caroline Ringer-Laprie. Each finalist has been scheduled to visit Radford's main campus and Radford's Carillion campus as well. Levin and Schechter have already made their visits, but Laprie is scheduled to visit campus on December 10th and RUC on the 11th.
If the stores looked busy last weekend, it's because they were. The National Retail Federation released its report of the 5-day holiday weekend. It found that nearly 190 million people shopped from Thanksgiving Day through Cyber Monday this year. That's a 14% increase over the last year. The report says shoppers spent an average of $362 on holiday items. A statue of Rosa Parks was unveiled last Sunday in downtown Montgomery, Alabama. One of the major symbols of the civil rights movement, Rosa Parks, now has a statue in Montgomery, Alabama, 50 feet from where she boarded the bus and was arrested for not giving up her seat to a white male. This statue was revealed last Sunday in honor of a moment that went down in history.
And that's some of what we have going on today. For NRV News, I'm Tyler Martin.
And I'm Kelly Fisher.